Hey guys, I'm Doyle with Southern Paranormal. I'm joined with Heath from Fallen Shadows Paranormal. We teamed up again. We've done how many now?
Well, I've only been to one. This will be my second one, but Shane and Ashley and the other have been to 3.
Plus, we got a few more planned.
Oh yeah.
Our groups just clicked together, so we're going to see what we can find.
Oh yeah.
But we're at Brushy Mountain State Prison. It's a state prison.
Yeah, or penitentiary. They call it either or.
And this is Tiffany and Jamie. They are going to walk us through here. They probably know more about this place than anybody around. So, can y'all tell us a few of the hot spots in here, some of the things that...
Well, you're standing in one. This is D block. This was originally built for solitary confinement. The prison inside the prison. This is where the bad guys were held. Where we're standing used to be their yard cages where they would get their 30 minutes a day of yard time. Yeah, in this section.
They had also dog runs.
Yeah.
Over here.
They're there now, but all this used to be blocked in. And this is a really active spot. There were several murdered here. Everybody asked about Jack Jett. He was he was a little person. He was murdered in the Courtyard. The guy that murdered him was killed in this area. So he's a popular spirit that people ask about a lot.
How many documented deaths do y'all have in the prison? Do y'all know? Is it really any kind of documentation on it?
We found some. There's not a whole lot documented here. We've been digging. That's kind of one of the things we're doing here is digging up the history. And so far we've found around 80 death certs, but there's over 500 men right at 500 men buried here in the cemetery that was unclaimed.
Just on grounds here?
On grounds here.
Oh, wow.
And that was before 1930. So, and that was just unclaimed, so we don't really have no idea.
Were any inmates put to death here?
They never used the electric chair here, which it was housed here for a little while, then it went to Nashville, but now they did beat them, and
there were no sanctioned executions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When was this building built?
The original was built in
1896, and it's set where this breezeway is. It was a wooden structure and set back just a little ways. And then in the 20s, they built this concrete structure that you see.
Finished around about that time. And this was built by the inmates. It's built in the shape of a cross. They done that on purpose for the people here in the community to accept that the prison was coming. And, but if you look at it, it's an upside down cross. So that kind of sends a message to the inmates that they were unworthy, so that was done on purpose.
What about infirmaries and other buildings on location? Is there any infirmaries here?
There is an infirmary. It's on the 3rd floor.
One of these buildings here?
Yeah, the 3rd floor is our most active floor inside the building itself. That's where the infirmary is. There's an auditorium where they watch picture movies. The cafeteria is a hugely active area. It's on the 2nd floor. But the whole area is active.
We do advise that anyone that comes here that we recommend no one go in there to last. You get followed by whatever's in there. He kills the activity all over this place. You'll get him all night long, but you'll get nothing else. We believe he might have been the bully that was stabbed out here. Some inmates had killed. He was a bully, but now when we go through, you'll hear him. He sounds just big and burly, you'll hear his voice all night, but that's all you'll get.
Like he's bullying the other spirits.
We do get a lot of negativity out of this building also. We've been growled at, we've been scratched. There's just...
There were several inmates that were murdered in here. This front room right here is where they would beat them. They beat them in this alley here. When I say beat, they would take leather straps and whip them. They did that in the courtyard out here and in this front room here. The inmates say this was one of the most haunted places when they were in here. Right. And the inmates said that they seen things. There was, I guess, what you would call like a riot. They took some guards hostage in here. So there was a lot of stuff that went on just in this building alone. In each area, there was something bad pretty much that happened just about everywhere here.
The same negative activity that you get there, we also get here on this bottom row in the center. That used to be C block. That was cells at one time. They've since removed the cells. It's just an open room now. But the inmates that was housed there, they'll tell you there's a lot of bad that went on in there. But we've been hissed at, we've been growled at.
When was the prison closed?
2009.
Nah. There's still inmates that probably been released that work
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh yeah. You'd be shocked how many comes back. You know,
Yeah.
really, yeah.
This one was their second home, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I
And then a lot, comes back. Like we had one come and he just sat at his cell, and told us, this is. If it wasn't for this cell, I'd be dead. It saved my life. So. There, as much bad that happened here, some good come from it also. So,
Sounds like it.
yeah.
What
Yeah,
was the max capacity in this place at one time? Or no idea?
At one time, we were told that they had 1,200 people here.
And I think it was originally built to house like six to eight, but it was overcrowded as soon as they opened it up. They were always over capacity.
They hot bunked here, so the inmates here had to mine coal, and so it didn't matter. I don't care if they were on their deathbed, what they had to mine coal. They also mined the rock out of the quarry in the back. So there's mines all the way around the property, and so every 12 hours they would shift change. So they hot bunked it, and a lot of that dirt. We've still got 17 men still in the mountain over here. It caved in. They left them.
They just dug a tunnel around them.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah. So lots of history here.
Where's the next place that of interest in here is hot spots, or so to speak?
Well,
Well,
we'll
right.
walk that way. Now the electric chair was in there. It was here for about a year. Then they moved it to Nashville. So the electric chair that was at Nashville originally was meant for
So
this
there
place.
were executions.
There was an electric chair here.
But
It was
no
just
elec-
no.
Yeah.
Never
it was
used.
Yeah.
used.
But there is a room in there, and we can show you where that's at, where the electric chairs sit. And so that's just kind of neat to go in there and see where the one from Nashville came from. So it's pretty interesting
To Nashville for like a museum, or to Nashville for use?
for use.
It's actually, yes, it went for use, but now it is in a museum now in Gatlinburg,
So there,
isn't it?
yeah, there's is it called Alcatraz something? There's a
new Alcatraz place up there.
That's
that's
it.
Got,
Yeah, it's
I've
there.
seen
That's it.
it on video. I've seen it on video. Yeah.
So that's where it's at now. Yeah. Now, if y'all want to go in there later on in the night, you have to go around to the back. There's a door open because this one's closed. So if that's where y'all want to get in at.
But no joke. I mean, I don't care how many groups come through here, we tell them this all the time, and then they still go in there.
Yeah.
And then
First
they're
thing.
They can't help
"Why
themselves."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, it took us a little while to figure it out. It was a little aggravating, but then when we finally realized what we were getting and how that was going on, once we stopped going in there and just came in and done our thing, because that was our favorite place. We'd go in there, so once we stopped, then that's when this whole place come alive for us.
We don't go
So
in
what
there
you're
till
saying is it's a
after
really
3.
cool place to go, but don't go there.
Not till
I go
you've
last.
investigated
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
once you feel like you've investigated other places and you're done with that, save that one for the last place you hit.
The dark entity follows you around and apparently scares the others.
Well, there was an inmate named Leroy, and they said he was a big old man and he just bullied all of the other inmates. And so they actually got together and killed him right here. And so the spirit that we get his voice sounds like he would be a big burly guy. And because we would get activity and then you would feel a presence come and the whole activity would shift and shut down.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't get nothing else, and we thought, well, that's odd. So then we started getting him on our recorders. We would get him on EVP, the same voice all night long. And so, like she said, it took us a long time to kind of put two and two together what was going on. And so once we figured it out, we tested that theory out, and that's what's happening. He comes in and you don't get anything else. You just get him talking to you all night long. And so, you
Interesting
know.
that I talked to a medium friend of mine early this morning, and she said there's a large, dark entity here that we should avoid.
Well, good luck with that.
Could
Let
be
me
him.
know how that
Could be.
works out.
Yeah. So
There's several here.
yeah,
I mean,
we get several
yeah.
very large shadow figures. And some of them are pretty quick. We've got one in the courtyard that's pretty quick. But most of them, when you see them, they're in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
So
that with your eyes or with?
with
No,
your
with
eyes.
your
oh
eyes.
Have
yeah.
you ever
Yes.
caught them with equipment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment?
Cameras
I've got an SLS
and
camera that I've caught them with.
video
we've-
cameras. We've got
Yeah.
video and photography.
Photography,
yeah,
yeah.
photos. So.
Where can we see some of that? It'd be great to add to our.
Well, our evidence, they are having us sit on our stuff till they get their website up and going to reserve that. We'll show you some of our stuff, but we can't
Give it.
put it out. So, because they're wanting to put that out for like marketing and advertising and stuff when they get their website going. So, none of it, you won't find our stuff out
Yeah,
there
we've not
anywhere
put
yet.
anything out yet.
So, but there is some good stuff
Yeah,
out there
from
online
groups that
already
have been
that's come.
here.
Yeah, so, but we'll show you some of the stuff we've
Yeah.
got. I don't know
Just
that
want
I
to tease
have.
the audience.
I don't know that I have
Yeah.
any. I don't know that I have any video with me.
I
but-
can go get my camera. I didn't bring it, but I'll go get
Yeah.
it when I leave.
Yeah, so we can show you what we got, but yeah.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah.
Which way?
Four.
I'm still going.
Okay, where are we at now?
This is the bottom floor on B side.
Just out of the courtyard, spot in the first room.
Yeah, they called this floor the Rock, was the name for this bottom floor. Do you want to talk about the death row?
They housed death row inmates here for a little while. You'll notice there's extra caging over on the side. That was so that the inmates above couldn't throw anything down to them. We have some, weekend activity here. Should I say the name? Or that, he's
Yeah,
dead.
might as well.
Looper. Low tax looper. He killed what was it, senator?
Yeah, the senator.
He died in the last cell back there. We've been getting some activity out of his
What
cell.
was the name?
Looper.
Looper.
We call it low tax looper.
Byron, was Byron his first
Byron,
name?
yes. But,
Who were some of the famous ones that's been in here that, everybody else may know?
James Earl Ray is the most famous.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll show you his last cell. He was
Yeah.
moved around quite a bit. Because he was an escape risk, so they didn't leave him in one place too long. But we can show you his last cell. So, but
But
we'll just go on up to the second floor.
Yeah.
Second and third is the most active.
right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So lead the way.
here it is.
This door will pop open. Okay, I mean, it doesn't pop open, it's very heavy, but something likes to open the door. So if you're in the dark, kind of watch that.
Yeah.
You said visitation will start up here. Any reason that happened on the second floor?
Well, when you come in the main entrance,
It's just
we can show
ground
you.
level.
Yeah, when you come in the ground level underneath where we're standing was offices, like the warden's office and stuff like that. It was where visitors would have to check in at. Then there was a set of steps that led up here to visitation. So I'm guessing just security purposes. You've seen how the prison's laid out. They probably don't want to walk them through the breezeway and traipse them, throughout the prison. But this is the cafeteria back this way.
Who did the artwork?
It's signed by an inmate named Tim Cross.
Yes, I could have looked up. That was the inmate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the hot spots. We like coming here. We get several.
Yeah. I guess the most recent and something that we're still working on. Easter weekend, we had kind of a lockdown with some groups that we like to work with, and so we invited everybody up and we just had one big investigation over the weekend. So we were set up in here, and we had some flashlights laying on that column over there, and we had flashlights. We were using a periscope. We were doing a candle experiment with the flame. So we were doing a few little things. We played some Native American music, and one of the men, the flashlight was turned on, all the way on, and he walked over. He said, "I'm going to turn that flashlight off." So he turned it all the way off, and on our recorders, we got an EVP. You hear a man holler, "No." Well, once he turned that off, the light come back on, and you hear a man on our EVP say, "Watch this," and in front of 9 people, I don't know, where the light meets the darkness, like right at the edge, this spirit manifested out of that shadow. It's like the shadow formed into a person, and he strolled right across the cafeteria in front of us. One of the groups we was with had just done a Facebook Live session. I'd had my thermal camera out. I think Jamie was using a camera. We had just turned every bit of that off, but we did have our recorders going, and all you hear on there is all of us hooping and hollering and going, "Oh my God, does anybody have a camera on?" You know. So we've been getting that's a new activity in here. He seems to, the Native American music really seems to kick that up. It's very interesting, and so we were using the periscope and the flashlights and things like that, and about 45 minutes later we were still sitting here, and the flashlight would come on, and we had a grid light, and the grid light would turn on and then go back out, and then you get this cold breeze come this way, and the periscope was right here, and it would turn on. And so it just kept doing that, kind of like in a circle. And I was sitting there watching, I said, "Is that going in a pattern, you know, like a circular pattern?" And as soon as I said that, it reversed. And they had done this for like 30 minutes. And then it started going in the opposite way, turning on all these pieces of equipment. And we were like, it's circling us like a shark would. That's what we felt like.
The cool thing about this property, old Paleo and Mississippian Indians were here, so you'll find things from them. We've also found some things like buttons from uniforms from the Civil War. We found that on the grounds. There was another Cold Creek War that happened here with the coal mines. So, I mean, the activity, you know, that you can get out of this place is insane. That was just the first time we ever did anything with Native American, and it just, bam, it went off the charts. But there was a lot of men that lost their life here, so you get activity from it all. I get one on my SLS camera back here in the flower bed. He works the flower bed. He has no head.
Yeah.
But he works that flower bed all the time.
There were several that were murdered in here. This was one of the bloodiest places. But 2 were really prominent because they just about hacked them up with like meat cleavers. So one of those is Marvin Winters, and they called him Waterhead. We do get him. Those are probably the most prominent one.
The main place where a large group would gather
with sharp instruments. Yeah. So you know,
they actually stopped cooking the food here. They cooked it outside in one of the buildings and would bring it here. Because of one of the killings, it ruined their food, you know, so they started carrying it in. But again, this is a hot spot, and
It's a warm spot too.
yes,
yeah.
yes. So
Where else you going?
we'll go up to the third floor.
Yeah.
This door's been shut now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of our favorite places. Here is where the Magnificent Seven formed their group. They came out of their cells on this side, took some guards hostage here. And down this row, they shot the black inmates. The first cell, the third cell,
Who shot? Guard shot?
the inmates.
Inmate shot.
There was a group of white inmates who got together. It was a racial issue. The blacks were controlling the phones at the time. Apparently, there was a white inmate that come. He wanted to use the phones. They weren't going to let him do that without a favor. He refused, so they raped him. So that was just kind of like, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back. So they got together, called themselves the Magnificent Seven. They sawed out of their cells over here with guitar strings, come out here, took the guards hostage here, and because the guards used to set up here in the hallway, so
They carried weapons on them.
they smuggled in a gun. The inmates did. So they took the guards hostage, went down through here, and like she said, they shot the one in the first cell, the third cell. They didn't shoot the one in the second cell because he was a white man.
They shot several, but those two died.
Yeah, those were the two that died.
Yeah, and we've got a good EVP. With one of the groups that came here, we were telling a story, and both the men that died, their name was James. And so we call this the James's cells, so if you hear us talking. But I was telling the story, and you hear a man come through, and he says, I was one of these. Really clear, we've got that. But this is a hot spot. We get shadow figures, phantom footsteps, touched, heavy breathing.
Doors open and closing. You get a lot of banging. The heavy breathing on this side is more kind of like a tension breathing, like some breathing heavy over top of you, whereas versus the other side, it was more like a heavy breathing, like a distressed breathing. But this side, they'll kind of come and hover in the cell and breathe over you, and it sounds kind of creepy, but it's very, very active down here. But that story's online. I mean, you can research more of that if you want to, and get the names of those who were involved. But
We try not to give the names of those that walked off us.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lex.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
How many workers was that?
There would have been two. But like I said, when they coal mined, there would have been four. They hot bumped it. So.
Life after death prison.
There's tons of artwork and stuff like that. There's some few really good pieces that the inmates done that we really like. Generally, if we investigate down here, we'll sit in the second cell, kind of in between the two. On this walk in particular, it seems like if you go in the cell and sit down, then you're more likely to get activity than versus if you're just kind of out on the walk. Generally, if we investigate down here on this walk in particular, we'll go in the cells instead of being out on the walk. That seems to make a difference.
And on these, when they were locked, each individual one had to be locked, one locking mechanism for all of them.
Well, there was both. They would lock it with a key, and then they would drop this. Once it was locked with a key, that would drop. And then they would lock that door there that we just came through. So.
And this didn't used to be here. They actually, the guards went on strike in the 70s, and that was one of their conditions on coming back because this grating wasn't here. And they would push the inmates off.
Yeah, there was Ohio State Penitentiary. There's two separate ones. One has a fence or whatever you want to call it over it, and the other side didn't.
Right.
And they learned after they built it, the inmates could actually reach through, the bars and push the guards off, and they were walking by.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
Like,
so.
kind of a hindsight, like big whoops like this.
Yeah, you kind of wonder who overlooks that little small detail there,
Does this loop around?
No, it does. It does not. It ends right here at this door.
It used to.
Yeah.
But they filled that in and added more cells.
The other side goes down just like this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
they're all.
4 levels.
Yeah, actually, they didn't used to have showers in here, so when they shut down or changed the shower house and added the showers, they filled that in.
You see shower houses from?
The showers weren't in we just walked by the shower. It's down here on the end. That didn't used to be in here. They had a shower house that they used, and so they did that. And took
Which
up that
inmates
space.
were kept up here? And then I'm assuming everything was just the men's prison, right?
Yes, it was only a man's prison. Each area was kind of, back in the early days, it was segregated, of course. A side was white, B side was black. Then they would do, one floor would be white, one floor would be black. This side in particular, Brushy has the worst of the inmates. So you can imagine you get that many hardened criminals in one area. One section of solitary confinement isn't going to be enough, so they use this also as like solitary confinement. It really just kind
It
of
wasn't
varied
until
throughout
the
the years.
80s when they built Timax up here on the hill that we started getting some, like your drug dealers and stuff of that nature in here. We always got the worst of the worst until that. And then that house, the worst of the worst, and then this kept some of the others. But
That's why they called it the end of the line.
yeah.
And when other prisons couldn't handle you, this was your last stop.
And we were also known as the Alcatraz of the South because of the mountains around. You know, when the inmates would go up the mountains, there was no
How many escaped, documented escapes?
goodness. There were several that escaped, but they weren't very successful. You know.
Picked up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a place to go.
No, there's not.
Yeah,
No.
there's actually a marathon based on James Earl Ray's escape.
Yes.
And the guy come up in the 80s and he didn't believe that he only got as far. He didn't get very far. And he was like, there's no way. He had to have got farther than that in the 3 days he was out. So he followed his escape path and realized just how bad the terrain was. And so he does I guess it's maybe more like an ultra marathon, a running race. And he does that every year. And people come back and try to run James Earl Ray's escape route. And there's only been 14 people that's done it since the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean,
And they come from all over the world,
Yeah.
literally all over.
and it's
the
an
world.
invitation only.
Yes.
Like you can run the pre-race, just because you finish it doesn't mean that you get a chance to run the real race. So, yeah, it's pretty prestigious. So,
Pretty long.
yeah.
Was there any more? Just end of the line?
Yeah, yeah. This is the end of the line on the
Now,
second.
another thing though that we do get, because that is the hospital area outside this door right here, now you will get coughing in here because we did have a TB outbreak.
There was a lot of disease, and we actually found a document one of the physicians had sent, given his annual report, and he was talking about how bad of health a lot of the inmates were when they came here. So when they would come in, they would bring disease with them. There was, dysentery. There was a syphilis outbreak here.
3/4 of the blacks they said had syphilis.
Yeah.
You know,
So there was a lot that passed away, due to health issues.
and like we said before, they had to coal mine. And then not only did they have to mine the coal, but they had to get a quota. And so if they didn't get that quota every day, they got beat. And so then the next day they had to go back and get that day's quota plus yesterday. So they got beat. So that's how.
And they had to work sick or whatever, and
Right.
you can see they didn't have good ventilation. A lot of the death certificates you'll see they died of pneumonia or consumption, TB. So, they had to work sick, and unfortunately, I would not have wanted to have been an inmate here back in the day, that is for sure.
It's out where they're tearing the houses
So we're
down.
actually going to take a left here,
It's out through
down
there.
this hallway. This one right here, you might
Yes.
need to.
Yeah, we'll need a light. But this is some of the rooms that you'll find that's still left, some of the hospital rooms.
About the same way.
Yeah. Only difference, they got their own showers.
Nurse's station back in here.
You probably did right there. We get it a lot up there. And it also, we get where it sounds like someone's
Sounds
walking
like
up
where they
down the
kept the drugs
steps on
and
the
stuff.
outside of the building.
Yeah. There's a door, just a cell bar door up there.
No, I don't think so. That's also one of the places we get our big shadow figure too. We get our big shadow figure there.
No. Got birds.
You got birds?
On some head.
We went to, when he was talking about birds, we went to the Ohio State Penitentiary. I learned that I could whistle and the birds would swoop down on me.
Oh, really? That's funny. That's so funny.
Look how much water.
I know. This place is flooding out.
Okay, you'll see cigarette butts in here, but if you offer cigarettes, you get it seems to kick up some activity. Also, liquor, we have some if you all want to borrow it, but that helps. But I'll let Tiffany have this one because I don't like this place.
Yeah, so this is the auditorium. This was originally where they watched their picture movies. You see on old movies where they got their chairs lined up and they're watching their movies. That's what they done in here. These offices weren't here. They built those later when they quit doing that. So this was another bad area. There were several that had their throats cut in here. There was one inmate that was gutted in this corner right here. This one, we have a creeper in here, and he comes out of this door right there. He's all black, and he's on his belly when he comes out of that door. So, yes. And, yeah, I have a theory about him. One of the men that had his throat cut in here, his name was Johnny Baxter, and another man cut his throat, and he actually managed to crawl to the infirmary. And once he got there, I think they said he lived about 15, 20 minutes. But he asked for a cigarette before he died, and we actually confirmed that story, that they did give him a cigarette with him holding his throat. So, that was kind of sad, really, but
That's more of a residual, you think?
I kind of think I don't know that it's residual. I think he's intelligent. I think we do get a residual in here, just the way that some of our equipment and stuff, and sometimes some of the activity you see is repetitive, like in this corner. But now this one that comes out of the door, I think he is intelligent because he'll respond if you, refer to him as Johnny. We actually get one of the inmates from the walk we were just on. He'll actually come in here and interact. One of the Jameses, we can get him to walk over in this. Usually they stay in their areas. Wherever they're at, they're just like they're in death like they were in life. They're territorial. They don't venture very far from where they're at, but now he's one that will come in here. But Johnny's probably our most active in here. You'll hear voices, footsteps. You'll hear them walking up and down this hallway. There's another floor we won't take you on, but there's one more floor of cells. You'll hear them up there walking back and forth when you're in here. We've got several pictures with people looking out of these windows here. These offices are empty. We get a boy. We've got a little boy a couple of times, a child, back in that hallway there where he's standing. We're still kind of working on that. But this was a homestead before the prison was built. And then you add in the Native Americans that, were here. And
Which I did find a record where they had put a 10-year-old here for stealing bread. Yes, he was sentenced here. So who knows,
We're still working on that one. That's a new thing. So we have been getting a few children here and there. So there's so much activity here. You just pick one and focus on it till you get it fact checked, and then we move on to the next one. So but we got a few names for in here that's pretty good. Like she said, this is a good area for trigger objects in here. We had Easter weekend was probably the most recent. They got some pretty negative activity out of here. One of the boys that come in here was lashed across his back. I have pictures of that if you want to see that. Just like a whip mark. I mean, it welt up on his back as thick as my finger. I've seen people scratch, but I've never seen nothing like that. It was...
And there was two. It was a whip mark and then a whip mark.
And they had broke in, is what they done. They tried to sneak in on us. But they come out and, so Jamie's like, well, we'll just walk you through, come on up here. And we kind of think that they didn't like the fact that they come in here on us. And because that boy wasn't doing anything but just standing here, you know. So that was this particular area can be pleasant or it can be kind of negative. Just all depends on the night. But it's a good area.
Yeah.
You said the offices are new. Those are also new?
Yes,
Yeah.
all that was
Yeah.
built.
Yeah, they use this for like counselor offices and
Is that
things like that.
Stage for the auditorium?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's changed over the years, and then depending on what warden was here, they used certain areas for different things, and then a new warden would come in and they change it up, you know. So over the years, things have
Do you
changed.
find that there's a certain time that seems to be more active than a certain
No, it's active,
night? It doesn't matter.
just as active during the day as it is at night.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
The activity may be a little different. Like during the day, you may get more work type activity, more conversation kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like what you would hear if they were busy during the day. We get a lot of that. I think you get more solid apparitions during the day.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So. Is that a frog?
Is
That's
that
an animal.
I thought it was a frog.
That was
maybe.
Doyle.
So now you're on A side. If you get lost in here, just keep walking. Everything makes a circle.
Yeah.
So if you get turned around, just keep walking, you'll come out. This is how you can go into the clinic from this way. It's kind of tight in there, so we don't take people through because you get a big old group. But if you go to the left right there, that'll wind around onto the left. And that was another part of the infirmary back there. They've got it split up into offices now, but it was like a big open ward with like beds lined up through there, and it's really active back in there. So we get a lot of stuff back in there. If you go to the right, it leads up to the roof, and we don't recommend that because there's a lot of soft spots and stuff. So. So am I shining that in your face? Am I shining that in your face? Okay.
Okay, so this is the barber shop here. Nothing really ever happens here, but this walk is where we get the coal miner. The inmates that was housed here all ask if we've seen him yet. We have not captured him yet, but a lot of people seen him. He's period dressed and he walks this walk.
So the inmates that were here saw him. Okay.
The inmates that were here seen a lot of stuff, and they will tell you that. Cell 28, that was the last cell that James Earl Ray was housed in, and it's on this walk. But now this side of the prison, we do get activity. We get mainly like the coughing, distressed breathing, and
They house a lot of the sick on this side.
yes.
So.
But now, if you all want to just come on out to the courtyard, we'll tell you what we get there.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this is another one of my favorite places. This is where we get Jack. He was killed on the phone out here. We get him all over this courtyard. We get Bonnie, and there was never women here, but again, we think she's out of the family. We found so far that we believe she's 18, loves music, and she's one of the most active here. She talks out loud. She will giggle. You'll hear her cry. She will touch you. But I don't know. And then Is there what?
We get a shadow figure that runs from the gym over towards C block. That's the one I was talking about. That's pretty quick. He's pretty quick, but now we've got him on camera, and but he kind of stays in that area. There was a group that come up, and the workers they'd found a basketball up on the roof here. They threw it down. We actually have that basketball if y'all want to look at it. It was dry rotted and faded and everything. It's so old. So they put a chair there on the basketball court on that end. They set a basketball on the chair, set this basketball on the chair. Then they went into the gym, done a mock game of basketball. Well, when they come back out, we could hear them arguing about whether or not they put the ball in the chair. And they was like, well, let's just go watch the video. So they come back in, and we rewound the video and watched it. And you see this black mass form down here at this end of the court. And it's like fog, and it just kind of slowly goes across the court. And when it gets to that chair, it kind of takes shape, and it picks that ball up and chunks it like 4 foot behind the chair. It didn't fall out in front. It picks it up and chunks it. So that video is actually on Facebook. You can find that. Or we can give you the link to that. That's a pretty cool video. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, but where that barrel sits, that used to be a whipping post there. That was another place they were whipped.
Yeah.
So
This was open like you see it now. There were phones. You can see where the phones were on the wall, and but this was probably one of the most bloodiest places out here in the courtyard. You know, when they were doing their yard time. So, I mean, we could dig for years and probably never get all of the deaths that happened out here. We get a Henry out here. He's pretty active. Jack Jet likes stogies. He was brutally murdered. They stabbed him like 18 times in the neck while he was on the phone with his mother. They said for snitching is what the story was. But we get him quite a bit out here, and he's vocal. You'll hear him audibly too, not just on your recorder.
The same activity that we get out here, we get in the gymnasium.
Now in the gym, they'll move your stuff around in the gym. The gym's a big place to catch like some kind of poltergeist activity on camera. They'll move stuff around in there. Got a lot of voices, footsteps. Now we have one spirit in the gym who will tell you he's a demon, but he's not. He just likes to do that, and he's pretty funny. If you can get him going, he's a great spirit. And so we'll just walk over here to the hole and kind of get it moving along.
Yeah, straight back. If you'll go all the way back where we're going to show you where they would bring in the coal miners.
Thank you.
Do they have any armed guards in
Yes.
centuries?
Yes.
Yeah, and they had to stay 10 feet away from the wall. They got one warning shot, and the next shot got you.
Yes.
So
this Sally Port here was where they would bring the coal miners off the mountain. They'd come in here and they'd go in here to shower. It's a chapel now, or was, but it was originally a shower house.
For the people that have never been into prison, what's a Sally Port?
It's a big metal gate, I guess, is what you would call it, wouldn't you?
Well,
yeah,
actually,
they just called it a Sally Port.
Yeah.
It's actually had two separate gates. What they would do is let one person in, lock that gate, and then open the other one. So you wouldn't be open and exposed to run out.
But when you hear Sally Ports, it's just the metal doors that are locked. But we debated on this, but I'm going to tell it.
Okay.
We hate telling this story because
We sound like kooks, but you know.
we are kooks, I guess.
Yeah.
But one evening while in here, she was in here with a guy. I was down in the hole with a girl. I was getting growled at while in the hole. That is very unusual. They caught a picture, and we hate telling what it looks like, but it looks like E.T. I have no idea.
We'll show you the
We'll
picture.
show you the picture.
I mean, when I was standing in here, we had a metal chair set up, and had a periscope in the chair. I was trying to get something to interact with it. Well, when it started lighting up, he started taking pictures with just a regular DSLR camera. Nothing special about it. So he's taking pictures and I'm talking, and I'm actually standing fairly good ways back away from the chair. And he's like, oh my God, check this out. So I'll go over and look, and you can see the shadow on the wall because the chair is sitting right here. I'm over here and he's taking the picture from this angle. There's a shadow right here on the wall. So whatever this thing was, it's like when the light hit it, it kind of refracted the light back away from itself and cast the shadow this direction. And standing beside this chair it has a bulbous head, and you can see the eyes. It's about 3.5 foot tall. We was trying to do, kind of eyeball measurements. And it's got little short arms. It's not like a human arm, it's just straight, and it's gray in color. And we were getting this chanting while we were doing that. And so, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I need a tinfoil hat because, I think we call it E.T. I mean, it really looks like a little gray alien standing there. The interesting thing about that is Jamie was doing some research, and we were talking about the Native American history. This is where they brought the miners in to shower after they come out of the mine. The Native Americans have the Tommyknocker legend, and the Tommyknocker is a 3.5 foot tall demon that they describe looking like the creature we got in our picture. And so that was fairly interesting. We kind of think maybe that's what it was, just because of the activity we get out of here. Is very negative, so we're kind of leaning more toward the Tommyknocker theory, but it's hard to not look at it and think alien.
But no, that photo
Yeah.
was sent to a university and was looked at, and they said it had not been tampered with, which we knew, and then, what's in it is unknown origin. They have no idea.
Yeah.
So, but it was in that building.
So it's fairly interesting.
But we'll walk through just so you can see on the inside.
A lot of people want to know James Earl Ray escaped from that back wall
Yeah.
back there in that corner.
The very back.
Yeah. So.
So we're opening this back up. It did have sheetrock on the wall, so we're taking it back down to the rock. They'll be showing a movie here on the history of the place when it opens. It all kind of, you can see how they would have went through and dressed on the opposite side here. The whole place, we came up the other night, set up. We got some crazy activity in this middle room over here. Big shadow figure again, blocked out our grid.
It's making our equipment make noises that we didn't know it could make. So we're still kind of working on what that was all about. But since they've been doing this, they've been getting lots of voices during the day. And
yeah, you get that a lot in here. It's in the hole. Now the hole, the man in the hole does
You
not
leave the
like
light?
this.
Hey, you leave the light? Hell no. Sherry and Donald, what
now
the?
this area is where we got
I
the
ain't got much of,
picture.
I ain't got much of nothing.
Are we about?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're about.
Well,
We can walk around here all night long.
Yeah.
But if y'all want to quit filming, that's
You're not going to get a good.
As soon as I walked in that doorway.
When you
Yeah,
go
no.
down in the hole, you're not going to get anything anyway. He doesn't like cameras.
yeah, you're not going to get a thing at all. down there.
You're just
We'll go ahead and
It's funny that you say that because
Yeah.
after we got that
Full
picture,
battery, I hit this fucking threshold right here. With the dark.
after we got that picture, me and him sat in here for like 45 minutes trying to recreate this, get something else. We went in there, showed everybody what we got. They come in here, I mean, they literally took their cameras off charge, come in here to see what they could get. They were in here 2 minutes and everything happened. So this area will suck your stuff dry.
What's the witness for?
First time since I've been doing this shit.
This would have been, I don't know, we've been kind of studying that. I don't know if that would have been like for the guards us to watch them in the shower house here, and then maybe hand through towels or something with one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because see, after the shower house, it was turned into like a game room, then it was property, it was a mail room, then they turned it into the chapel. So this building has been used for tons of stuff over the years.
You can see, like, they would have came through here, got dressed, so, we was looking at maybe towels might have been handed through there, that might have just been somewhere where they could watch them. But then, like she said, it was used for different things over the years. And then down below us, just right below us, is the hole. Back behind us is the laundromat. There's still washers and dryers there. Now we get one in here. We call him Papa, but now he works. He works a lot over there. You hear the dryer door slamming and banging. He likes casual conversation. He does not like cameras. You won't. We've got him before, but we had to do our cell phones, and we just kind of slipped them out and hit the button, and we caught some stuff. But if he knows you've got a camera,
Never. Me and her's never been up here and not got anything.
But
Is it because you're just so susceptible to it?
That's our next stop.
We think they just like us because we come up here and when we first started coming, we care about this place. When we first started coming up here, we were like, we want to hear your story, So.
the cells will be right through here. There's 4 of them. The third one is the coolest. I'm not going to walk in there because it's so cramped. But
There's, I think, when Troy came in here earlier, this was a little bit flooded.
they would be put down here. It
Well,
just
they got
depended on what they
bunks.
done, how long they would be here. We was told that when did they claim that they quit using it? In the 60s?
Yeah, 60s, 70s, but we were told that they never actually quit using it.
We were told by some that they were still using it for sure in the 90s occasionally. But the inmates named what they would be fed here a green monster. It was like boiled okra. And, yeah. They were given 2 5-gallon buckets, one with fresh water and one used as a restroom.
How come there's 2 bunks in the last 2 cells?
Sometimes they would put 2 in one. There's electricity in there now, but there was no electricity. They didn't get let out. They would put them in there and shut the door, and then some of them got left in there so long that they were blind when they come out, and they'd have to be assigned like a buddy to walk them around and stuff. So that's why the state wanted it closed. They declared it inhumane. But then, like she said, we've recently heard that they continued to use that, which I'm sure they probably did, So the activity is actually different inside the cells than it is out here. We get one inmate in here, his name's Charlie, and he is very ornery, and he will just basically tell you to leave. He doesn't like cameras, he doesn't like to be bothered. So if you're not getting any activity and you say, Charlie, you want us to leave? Then he'll do whatever you want him to get you out.
Got a camera in here now.
Yeah, so he's really hard to catch. We've actually only got just bare minimum activity on camera down here.
And if you hear me call him Papa, I don't know why, but I call him Papa. So if you hear me say that, that's who I'm talking about. Ben.
Yeah, Ben likes the ladies. So if you get the ladies to kind of get him stirred up. He prefers blondes.
But now we do have one that when we bring redheads down here, redheads are known to get their hair pulled. We don't know if they like redheads or if they
Not
do
just
not
tug, like
pull.
it will yank their hair.
Yeah.
So
I'm watching it here.
there's actually a cool EVP from Easter weekend recently. It was just me, her, and one other girl here, and she went in there, set up a recorder, laid down, went to sleep for a few hours, and you hear this man say, "Night, night." And
You
that-
also hear walking.
heavy footsteps.
Boots. She was wearing Converse, so we knew, but she was asleep, and you hear these boots walking, and you will get that while you're sitting down here. A lot of times you'll hear boots walking. But then he stops, and then you hear him say, no.
Yeah, and it's really
Creepy.
creepy. It really is, because we heard that, we was like, oh wow, But now one thing we get down here is animal noises,
Yeah.
like scratching, like pawing.
Or like hooves, you'll
yeah,
hear hooves. But now the one thing about that is they had a pet deer here, and his name was Geronimo. So we don't know if that has something to do with that or what, but you do get that. Whistles, you get a lot of whistling down here.
Yeah. Some of them are like attention whistles, and then some of them will like sing a tune.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool down here. And you can hear them, sometimes when you're down here, you'll hear them up working in the laundry room. There's some dryers still up there, and you can hear the doors open and shut. That's like an unmistakable sound, so if you go up there, y'all can test that out and see, but it's like they're working up there. We get a lot of that in here too, so this is a pretty active building. This area down here is probably the hardest though to get it.
Yeah.
It's like pulling teeth down here. Sometimes you come in here and it's
easier
bad.
in there.
Yeah.
A lot in there. Out here, it's hard.
Most nights it's kind of hard to get it out of here, but if you get it, it's gold when you get it. So we come down here a lot to try to get stuff, so it's a good spot. But that pretty much
Like
covers.
that, active?
I have no idea. I doubt it. We've got everything turned off, so. And they're fixing to run all the electricity underground, so it's probably been cut off this building already.
I mean, if you want to know more about other areas, we can elaborate even more, but that kind of wraps it up, don't you think?
Yeah.
Thank y'all for showing us around Brushy and giving us the information that we need, and hopefully we'll catch something tonight and be able to present it to y'all, and hope y'all like it.
Yeah.
Hope you have
We're ready to
fun.
get in.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
our
Can't
pleasure.
wait, you know.
Yeah.
We wish
That's
you
all
the
story.
best of luck. Can't wait to see what y'all catch.
Y'all hanging around?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
be here.
All right, good
Don't
deal.
step on the glasses.
Oh, did I drop them?
Thank y'all
Thank
again.
you.
You're
Oh, yeah,
welcome.
no
Thank you.
problem.
Oh.